What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Anhar's Radio Show. I am your host once again, Eric Love. PJ in the house.
What up? What up?
Right now we're watching UNC versus Kansas, the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Um, man, I'm pretty excited because I'm a really big UNC fan. I've always have been. It's been my favorite college basketball team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if anybody knows this about me, but I was born in North Carolina.
Oh okay. That's
Yeah,
what's up.
Jacksonville, North Carolina, in Camp Lejeune. I was a little military brat, and yeah, so that's my connection to North Carolina. But
Yeah.
right now they're up by a wide margin. I'll tell you that score right when it comes back from commercial.
Mhm.
Um, what's your assessment of the game so far that you've been watching?
You know what? I like North Carolina. They've always been strong, but I also like the underdogs too as well. They're a really good team. Uh, the players just have so much energy compared to NBA.
Yeah,
They're just so like after it. Look at them. I mean, they're just going. So that's what I love about the college ball. But I don't really know anybody, to be honest with you, on these teams.
you know what? I wasn't really paying attention this year either.
Mhm.
I just kind of tuned in when this tournament started,
Mhm.
and I wasn't really invested. But when I saw that UNC was meeting Duke in the Final Four, that's when I kind of checked in. I'm like, oh, that's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
solid matchup.
Where are they at right now?
What do you mean?
Where are they playing? Like at
Oh, it's a neutral site. This is man, that's a great question.
yeah,
I'm
because I
gonna,
was looking. I don't recognize the court.
that is. It doesn't really say. They got it pretty much covered up,
Yeah,
but it looks like a pretty big arena.
yeah, it's pretty huge.
But yeah, my quick assessment of the game before we move on to the next subject. North Carolina is beating them in the physical game. They have a lot of size. The inside game, they're contesting shots, getting rebounds. Um, yeah, they're just outworking this Kansas team, and I'm surprised because Kansas is solid, solid team.
Yeah, but compared to NC in North Carolina, bro.
Yeah, they're just on. They hit a momentum. They hit the stride.
Nah, they fighting though. They
Yeah,
fighting. Look at them
yeah.
out there. They ain't giving up, and that's what I like about them. So
So currently the score is 40-25 in the second half of the game. There is 19 minutes and 50 seconds left. Love has the ball. He dribbles and drives to the middle of the basket.
and
Kicks out. Throws it into the post. Kicks back out. Love. He dribbles, spins. Oh, and the
oh,
foul. Oh, travel. I'm sorry.
was that a travel?
Yeah.
Dang.
Anyway, yeah. We're not gonna commentate this whole game. I'll move on to
Yeah.
the next subject. Um, I wanted to ask you because I've been doing some reading on this article that has to do with something called Title 42.
Okay.
And Title 42 basically is something that was put in place by the last president in the last administration. It was a measure to further border security. And I guess Joe Biden and his administration is looking to repeal that Title 42. And in the article I was reading, it said that this will result in approximately 18,000 um, immigrants coming over every day for 180 days. So that's just a ton of people coming in. Now, border security is a very interesting topic. It's a very polarizing, debated topic.
I'd agree. I agree. It's something that
Do you have an opinion or
I'm kind of familiar, but I'm not familiar. But all I know is like it's good and bad at the same time. I don't really have like a thing for people getting their money. I let them get their money, but the ones that are doing like bad shit, that's the thing that I think we should keep the ones out like that.
right?
Other than that, people
I
who
agree.
are making like a difference and want something, give them opportunity.
Okay.
Because I'm not racist. But as far as it's just, I'm not, I mean, I'm not, man. Like, I think everybody, no matter what color, should have an opportunity. But at the same time, there needs to be like some type of limits, and there needs to be certain things looked at to say, can we afford to do this? Can we afford to take on?
Hmm.
It has a lot of effect, like you said. So I don't know where to start with it, but that's kind of a piece of what I think.
Well, it's interesting that people, when it comes to this subject, if it seems like if people take the stance of wanting strong border security,
Mm,
I guess the stigma is looked at it as like it's racist.
yeah,
I really don't understand that because there's a lot of nations out there, most nations actually, enforce strict border laws
exactly. And I think we should do the
because
same. I agree.
that's
Like I
how a
said.
nation maintains its sovereignty. But there's a couple schools of thoughts when it comes to this. There's you know people look at it. Some people look at it as a positive to have immigrants come over, and it kind of drives up the economy because they take these positions. They work a lot of these positions, and they're able to you know j- uh, accelerate the workforce,
Hmm.
and so they collect more taxes or they pay more taxes than they collect. So it helps the American economy. But then you look at the other side of the coin where it's like, all right, there's a lot of native born people who are missing out on these low skilled jobs because illegal immigrants are coming over and um, taking those same jobs for lower wages. Because say they go back to Mexico or
Hmm.
wherever country, or they're sending money back, the money goes a longer way. And there's a lot of complications also when it comes to taxes and whether people who are coming from across the border are even paying taxes. It's there's a lot of things, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways of looking at it,
There's a
and
lot.
and and when it comes to people coming over in terms of asylum,
Hmm.
um, I'm all for that. You know what I mean? Nobody should be living in a country where they have some sort of dictator or some sort of group of people terrorizing them.
That's what I mean. That's all it is. It's not like something that see people. I look at it differently. Like I said, with racism, I look at it like, oh, because this person doesn't know like the American way or the whatever. It's just a lot of different ways people think.
Hmm.
Me, you should just let them be if they're gonna not doing anything and just let them live, And when they do, then they do,
Well, I mean,
So
there's so much nuance to this. It's not one extreme or the other. You know, there's an argument for how effective um, the border is and Homeland Security when it comes to security. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of drug traffic that comes to the southern border. There's a lot of human trafficking that comes to the southern border.
yeah,
Um, there's just a lot of people who are in cartels, narcos.
yeah.
You got people who are in MS-13. Should I be saying that shit? I don't know.
I don't.
but it's not a secret at this point. It's really
Yeah,
not a secret. And we talked about the rise of overdoses due to fentanyl in a past episode, and where do you think that's coming through? It's coming through the southern border. So people are concerned with the vetting process of who exactly is coming in here. And there's a lot of people who game the system. They'll use somebody else's kid to get through,
yeah.
and then that's where you have people getting separated from their parents and this and that, because the parents aren't being let in, but the kids are, so they let their kids go with just straight up strangers. But see, there's that, and then you look at, like I said in the past, there's asylum, there's you know, basically people just want a better opportunity. There's a land of opportunity, as some people call it.
It is, man.
But you know, currently there's a lot of senators speaking out against it, and the border patrol agencies at the southern border along Texas, Arizona, even San Diego, California, and all that. There's a lot of people saying that they're overwhelmed,
Hmm.
and their job title has basically changed. They're not really deterring people from coming in. They're kind of ushering them in now. And I don't know. It's a hard, interesting topic to talk
It,
about.
it is because there's a lot of key points that are important and that it's really a big topic to talk about. You got to make
Yeah.
sure you hit everything because what we're saying is just itty and bitty pieces of it. There's so
Right, right,
much
right.
more.
There's so
Yeah,
much more details and nuance,
yeah,
like I said,
yeah. It's a
and we're
lot.
only just hitting very,
You know,
minor or major. We're hitting points, but we're not hitting all of them. And there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot to this, and
yes,
there's good points on both sides of the argument.
that's what I'm
You know,
saying. You're right.
it's there's certain people that want border security, but that's not to say that doesn't mean that they don't want people coming in here. It's not because like, oh, this is our land, this is our home, but you get a lot of people who come over here without skills. See, I'm not saying everybody. Obviously, people come over here and they're way smarter than us. You know what I mean? And it's not just Hispanic Latinos coming through the southern border. It's all sorts of
We
people
got
from
Haitian.
so many
We
different
got
nations.
yeah. And it's understandable, but like what they don't understand is if once this border does go up, and if it does, they're gonna clean up. They got it locked. They know
And
they can join.
what happens to taxes when a bunch of people go onto social services? The government starts taking care of them, and this is not. You know, there's only so much. I find that kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Coming over here and just going straight on social services, and then you're not even working, have no intention on working. Like I said, I'm not saying everybody's like that. There's a lot of people that come over here and contribute in positive ways, especially
yeah,
to our economy. Um,
yeah. You got to give credit where it's due. So
it just can't be an open door. You know what I mean? In a more positive world, you would like that, but
wow.
it's not that simple. Real quick, we're gonna
Yeah, sorry, I
little
just
quick
said, wait a
update.
minute, wait, what? Look at this.
Kansas is kind of closing a little bit. 15:30 left in the second. North Carolina is up by 7, 45-38.
Hmm.
And yeah, we'll keep you updated. You know, but yeah, you know what I mean. I know a lot of people personally because we live in San Diego that they have people that can't come over. And that's another thing to talk about. It's like people been waiting for a long time, going through this grueling process, and then things change, and everybody's just kind of coming over.
Bro, I know. And there's good and bad. I just know there is. I just like most of my niggas, the one like even the one on the phone. Most of them they didn't have papers, and it took them 20 years to get their shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro. And they were like my closest people and shit. Like, out of everybody, like,
Right.
yeah. So it's crazy. You know what I mean? You meet people and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my experience. But I've had some. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny, you mentioned human trafficking, drug trafficking, and there's some people out there that will look at you like, oh, you're into conspiracy. You just like to hit all these talking points. I don't know how people got so political, man. It's like, dude, just take the subject for what it is. Human trafficking and drug trafficking. It's not a conspiracy. It's a real thing. Take it for what it is. You know what I mean? Don't politicize it.
It happens.
Now, if you can tell yourself that these are real things, don't just shrug it off like it's nothing just because somebody who is on the political opposite of you is saying it. You know what I mean? There's some things that those are two things that we should get together on. You know what I mean, and agree,
Yeah.
and identify the problem. The problem is, the media, who you would think would shed light on these things, they don't. They care about different things because they have their own personal agenda.
Mm-hmm.
But people need to just kind of, like I said, see things for what they are and look into it. Don't just assume it's not real because somebody on the other side is saying it. And that goes for Republicans, Democrats. I don't know how the hell we got so political these days.
It's just,
Are you a political person?
when I was young, no, and as I got older, I started just looking at things. You know, you start seeing interest in the government and stuff, and you start thinking about your history with the presidents you had and
Hmm.
who's been better and what's been happening. Even though they're all corrupt, no one's if not each one that I've had president wise since I've been alive has not been like 100%.
Yeah.
Each one.
Yeah, and that's not the nature of the system, unfortunately.
You would think they always try to bring it up like they're gonna do some big change, and they
Yeah.
don't do anything. You know, there's some do. You know, I'm not saying they all, but each president, there's I could say Clinton, Trump, even though I'm not, all, you know, everyone knows me, but I got to get credit where it's due. Like I've seen more money out there, the stock market booming way more. I seen like him create the jobs and stuff like that. I seen Clinton like change the economy and made just things go down cheaper and better, kind of better way of living, like kind of for the kids and the family. And so yeah, bro, it's just been kind of like those type of things.
I wanted to ask you about this, and it's so weird. I'm still very confused on this.
What's that?
Did you hear that cannabis, marijuana, is legalized federally?
Yeah, they were talking about it today. They said they were going to, I think, right? Today?
Look, it says, I looked it up. It says House votes to federally legalize cannabis. How is this not like talked about all over the place?
It probably is.
And what does that mean? What does that entail? Like, do you get to bring a gram or, a
Whoa.
couple? Do you get to bring an eighth onto the plane?
Somebody, one of the radio hosts were saying something like, you can just be high and have a little bit of weed, you know, and drive, go places without being stopped for a DUI or stuff like that. So
Are they gonna treat it like alcohol?
I think so.
Hmm.
But I think, like I said, it wouldn't be as bad. I don't know, man. A lot of people will be moving a lot more weed.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more cheaper. And
What does it do for the street pushers?
it puts them out of business.
You think so?
There's a couple. It's always going to be your loyalties because a lot of them don't want to leave no footprint. And I don't want to blame them, but you're going to have your ones that are old school and don't want to even go through none of that.
You think the government's gonna tax the hell out of?
Oh, guaranteed. That's where the money's going to come in. That's why
That's
I
why
think
they
they're
did
going to
it. I'm
pass.
surprised they didn't do it a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. So they'll be like, okay, we need to make up for all this. We're spending. And boom, there it is.
Damn.
Yeah, man, it's right there.
That's
So
crazy.
they know what they're doing.
I was seeing something that there's a lot of cartels out there that are, I don't know, I forgot where I saw this. I just seen it right before I turned the mic on, but the cartels are trying to come up with their own fentanyl. They don't want to get it from China no more, because I guess that's
They said
the main
China
producer.
was a person that I guess has where that shit is coming from. That's what
See-
they said, but I don't know, bro. That's what I'm.
That's my biggest concern with the border. Whoever wants to come over here, fine. Whatever process they have to go through, sure. I really don't care. I think this is a good place to live, despite our BS freaking politicians.
Shit, yeah.
But as far as drug trade, arms trade, trafficking of all sorts, like
It's in every country,
It
even
needs-
ours, dude.
we need to, know exactly who's coming into this country, what's coming into this country, and just it's crazy. But like this one senator from Kansas, I believe it was, I can't remember his name, but he was saying that they keep reaching out to this administration for help on the border,
Yeah.
and they don't want to. So he's like, you know what? Like, there's only two options. It's either he's very incompetent or he wants there to be a crisis. But either way, it's nothing good. And the White House put Kamala Harris in charge, but she's only been once. And all those images that we've seen from a few months back, I can't remember how many months back, but I don't know if you've seen it, where tons of people under a bridge at the border camping out. Remember all that?
That's right. Yeah, I do remember that.
It's still like that.
Is it?
If not worse, it's worse. And look, where do you see it on the news? No, they don't see it.
But that's what I was talking about before on previous episodes. they are giving out money like it's nothing, and they can't even take care of people out here.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give it away, you might as well give it away to your own people, get everybody in shape before you decide to just throw it away.
I spent $65 on gas and got 3/4 tank.
See what I'm saying? I got 85 in the same thing. That's why I jumped back in that.
That shit's wild, man.
Yeah.
What else is going on out there, man?
What you got going? Well, that's crazy though. They legalize it, so like I said, people ain't gonna be able to push it like I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If they do, it's gonna be for cheap. You probably can get a whole elbow for like shit, probably 600, 700 maybe. I don't know what it's going for right now, but I'm talking about like cheap prices, even cheaper than that, 350, 400. At the time when it's really booming,
So have you heard anything about Kentanji Brown Jackson, the Supreme Court nominee?
Nah.
So they did a Supreme Court hearing on her, and she was being asked questions from Republican senators as well as Democrat senators. And look,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
one of the questions they asked her was, "What is a woman?" So let me ask you, what is a woman?
Shit, I mean,
Do you know what her answer was?
what was her answer?
Her answer was, "I am not a biologist." So I guess she doesn't know what a woman is.
Well, what is a woman to you?
A woman is someone who can bear a child,
Okay.
someone with a vagina, someone who is a woman.
This one ain't getting played for a while.
No, this one's getting played. It's all right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man. I guess there's a difference between
Nah.
gender and sex. That's kind of what's been being talked about. But I mean, I would have answered it if I was her. I would have been like, I'm a woman,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then they probably would have just have to leave it at that. But so the big thing with her is that they've been seeing a pattern of leniency when it comes to child pornography cases.
Damn.
And those range from semi-egregious to very egregious. You know what I mean? Like kids being sexually abused with pictures. And she was saying that, well, the Democrat senators were saying that, they cherry-picked trials in an effort to make her look bad. But what's funny about that, in my opinion, is like that's the point of a hearing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the general public, the United States public, they should be picking out the stuff that they consider alarming. You know what I mean? Because we're not. The point of it is to see what this judge is thinking, where her mindset is. Do we feel comfortable as a nation letting her be on the highest, the highest seat in all the judicial branch?
Yeah.
It's one of the highest honors you could have as a judge. So it's important to ask these questions. And then every time the Democrat senators got to their, they had their opportunity to ask questions, they didn't ask questions. They straight up just hyped her up. They just said everything that's so great about her. And they said how racist the other people were for asking these questions, Cherry. But it's like, bro, when the courts give a recommendation for a sentence, she went to the lowest possible she could do on over 10 cases.
Really?
Around 10 cases. And it's like,
See, I didn't know that.
There was somebody who had hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures of children being abused sexually.
Damn.
And the court recommended like 10 years. She gave him 5 months. Something crazy like that.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like those are questions worth asking. But people are so politicized, they can't see that's alarming.
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta understand people, like when it comes to these politicians, they don't do things just for good nature, out of the good nature of their heart. there's an agenda. You know what I mean? Say for example, and I'm not, I don't mean to talk out of school, but I'm just throwing a hypothetical out here. I can do that. This is my show. Say for example, there's a pedophilia problem in government or Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And say you're a very high up important person in government and you are a part of that. Wouldn't it behoove you to put somebody on the bench that can it kind of exonerate you from these sort of charges just in case shit hits the fan?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I crazy for kind of bringing that up? I'm telling you, man, like I have these concerns. I pay attention to these things and people say, "Oh, you're right wing, you're right wing." I'm not right wing. I'm look at two sides of the story,
Mhm.
you know, liberal Democratic side and then the conservative Republican side. And I just kind of try to look at it in the most unbiased way possible because I don't have biases. I just look at the issue in itself, whether it be trafficking, whether it be whatever the hell it is. You look at it and then you just see if there's any validity to it. And guess what, people? From what I've accumulated and learned, there are some validity to these things. And the fact that there's no there's a blatant like omission of attention to these subjects, then I find that kind of odd. That's just me.
Yeah. It's all right, man. I mean, it's your interest. You should go for it. There's nothing wrong with it, bro.
All I
But
want
me,
to do, I'm sorry.
go ahead. Go
All I
ahead.
want to do is just bring to people's attention
What's going on?
of just things that are actually happening. You know what I mean? Some of these things aren't conspiracies; they're actually happening. So you got to ask yourself, how do I feel about these things? When it comes to critical race theory, that's a
Mhm.
real thing, people.
Mhm.
Now, they're not gonna outwardly call it that, but there's something put into the curriculum where it's like it's this ideology that they're kind of like trying to indoctrinate kids with. When I don't know, I think that that kind of stuff should be held out to a more advanced age. Whether they're 15 and up or whatever the hell it is. But if you're gonna teach history, teach it for what it was, and don't try to interject your own narrative. Don't try to rewrite narrative to further your political agenda. That's all I gotta say on that.
It's all good, man. I understand. Like people are gonna follow it or not. They're gonna be brainwashed or they're gonna do their own research like you. There's people out there that has tell me stuff and it's came true. So
Mm-hmm.
if anything, follow your heart, follow your dreams. But me personally, about the lady in the office or anybody in the office or anything, I don't care what they do, where they come from. Just do the job right, and I think you're all good with me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It could even be Republican. It doesn't matter to me. I look at it as just do what you're getting paid to do.
Yeah.
If you could do that, you have my respect.
And that's the importance of paying attention to these sort of things because if we just kind of, you know, sit back and let the same type of people be elected over and over and over again, then
Mm-hmm.
the same issues happen. And then, we get to a place where we're at now. And it's not just natural phenomena, people. Like, this is either incompetence or it's intentional. And either way, that's scary.
Yes,
You
it
know what I
is.
mean?
It is. And the next person has to come in and clean up right after the last, every time.
Bro, damn, I wish we started the episode off with this. There's a article that I read from a magazine called or a website called Jezebel.com, and they were saying that right wing extremists were going after these sex ed teachers or educators,
Yeah.
and it was these four women who organized a sex ed camp called Sexy Sex Ed,
Okay.
and they accepted people of all ages, including children, and they aided them on, learning how to practice safe masturbation. All this like sexual stuff, which would make sense in the proper setting, but the weird thing that I found about this was that they added this element of sexy. Why is sexual education for all ages have to be sexy? You know what I mean? And they were demonstrating masturbation like like if it were a female masturbating, they were doing it on the hand, showing people how to do it on hands.
Really?
And it's like, do children need to be involved in that though? Like,
Nah.
so in that sense, is it so shocking that parents out there are gonna be like, "Hey, man, like something off about that"?
Like it's not right.
Would you ever send your kid to that?
Nah.
Sexy sex ed?
Nah.
What the hell?
I don't know. People have lost their mind, bro. Like I said, I feel like I don't even belong here no more because it's just the way everything is. I've never heard of nothing like that. Would have never been back in the 90s. Sexy sex ed or whatever it's called.
Isn't it crazy? Everything just seems so backwards these days.
That's some
I'm telling
crazy
you,
shit.
man. I feel like
Why would you teach some kid that? Let them learn and find that shit out on their own. Or with their partner. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just be like, oh, here, let me show you how to do this, and that.
So here's an article I was looking up. It says a group of sex ed teachers are afraid for their lives amid right-wing harassment campaign. So if I can just read a couple highlights from this article.
Go for it.
And this is a very liberal article, you know what I mean? So what's amazing is that I'm reading this and they're in defense of this group. But as I'm reading it, I'm like, it still sounds bad. You know what I mean? A group of sex education teachers in Appalachia are afraid for their lives. So much so that they are having to hide in safe houses. After Christopher Rufo, the right-wing activist credited by the New Yorker. Okay, I don't know what happened to the screen. I apologize. Credited by the New Yorker for effectively inventing the conflict surrounding critical race theory, has now set his sights on exposing the program. On March 8th, Rufo began tweeting about a past viral event called Sexy Summer Camp, which welcomed people of all ages in rural Kentucky with limited access to education and resources intended to aid in healthy, safe sexual exploration. The itinerary, which was published by Rufo, includes lessons on gender exploration, self-pleasure, pelvic floor health, and self-managed abortions. That last one, what the hell is that? That was a self-managed... Wow. Rufo owned in on the fact that the camp was advertised for all ages, implying that children and adults could be receiving the same lessons and that masturbation would be demonstrated, though the itinerary made it explicitly clear that the act would be demonstrated on hands. So I'm saying that sentence right there, it's like this guy honed in on the fact that children and adults would be receiving the same lessons as far as masturbation goes. But this writer, the person who did this article, their defense was, even though the itinerary made it explicitly clear that they were doing it on hands. It's like, is that supposed to make it better?
No.
Did they think that they were just gonna do it like, spread their legs open and start touching themselves and shit?
I thought that's what. Yeah, because I was like, wait, what?
No, but they're doing it on hands, people. It's all good. It's all good. I understand. Yeah, sexual education is very important, but what's with the sexy aspect? It's just odd.
But
come on now.
When I was going to school, bro, and I was in sex education, it wasn't nothing like this, man. This is way off some wall shit, like right here.
So people on social media have been calling them witches, predators, pedophiles. And so they felt like they had to go to safe houses because they thought people were coming after them.
It's an interesting story. I like it because of the fact that they're putting it out there, and when you're gonna find out who's gonna go. But the thing is, like, dang, like where have we come from, to now?
I know it used to be a no-brainer. It's like, hey man, those are kids. Come on now.
That's what I mean. Like you would just know off limits, but
they do these things. Then when you call them out on it, they shift gears. Oh, but you know, obviously we're not gonna do that with kids. It's like, but it's not advertised as such. It's advertised in a way where it's like, so they leave it open. You know, they leave it in broad, speaking terms.
It's like
So that if somebody is weird and want to do that, they can do it. And it's like the moment that it feels off, they can switch up. They can switch up their rhetoric and make it, to where, oh, obviously, it's just, I don't know, man. Maybe I need to look more into it and be a little more
No, I'm
informed.
glad you brought that up. That's crazy.
And so all across the United States, there's been stories kind of coming up, at least on websites that I look at, and
What the fuck?
and you gotta kind of pay attention to it.
I know. I'm just reading this. Wow, I'm like, wow. It's
Wow, what'd you
crazy.
read?
Teen pregnancy. It says Turner told KRNL magazine, "I have a lot of friends who have dealt with teen pregnancies."
Yeah.
So I guess this looks like, yeah. Wow, this is pretty interesting.
They talk about the parental rights to education bill, and then in parentheses, or don't say gay bill.
That's the one you were talking
but that's
about,
the
right?
name that they dubbed it. So shame on you if you're calling it that, because then you're the one promoting that message. You're literally saying don't say gay when no one said that.
Exactly.
So stop saying that. That's rude. Say gay.
Yeah.
I say gay.
I say gay.
I love the gays.
I have no problem with them
That
at
came
all.
off kind of. That came off kind of.
Yeah, no
sarcastic.
homo.
I don't mean
You
no
know what I'm
sarcasm.
saying?
I'm
We
serious
good.
though.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with them, bro. For real. Like,
No,
I
I
have
really
no
don't.
issue. I'll work with you. I'll rock with you, long as you know better.
I know what you guys are
fine.
thinking. If you feel that way, you don't gotta state it. Well, I'm stating it, and I feel that way. So whatever.
Yeah, it's all good,
Yeah, man.
Shoot, I appreciate
but
it.
We all need to be, we all need to come to a common, I mean, not all of us have to think the same, but it's like, damn, man, like, come on, let kids be kids. Don't teach them that this country is built on hate, and we have an ugly past, and yeah, it's important to learn, but it's like, when do we get to move on past that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about racism, right? You know who's like really racist? People of an older generation. But guess
Yeah.
what? Those people are dying off. As generation after generation follows, we move further and further away. I'm not saying it's totally eradicated. Of course there's racist people out there. But guess what? That's taught. You know what I mean? It's not just something you're born with. It's taught. And as time goes on and we further a good message of inclusion and kind of just don't see color, just see people for people.
Yep.
But it's crazy. We can't get to that point because, I mean, both parties do it, but I'm telling you, one party is really like, everything is about race. Everything is about race. Stop.
Yeah, I know.
My goodness.
I know already where you're going at with it. I understand.
My goodness.
You know what?
People perpetuate they use the race issue
But if
for their
I'm
own
right,
personal gain. I hate that shit.
But if I'm right,
What's
if
that?
he, right? Who you're talking about? Am I on the same wavelength?
Okay, go ahead. I'll
race?
let you know.
If he feels like, he's the one that has to live with the way things used to be back in the day, he shouldn't. Because
Who's this?
I don't want to say, man. Come on, because you told me a story.
Just
And, you told me a story and you was like, man, he always like puts this and that into it. And I'm like, but damn, he hasn't gone through it before, so why is he acting that way? Always this man, this and this man.
Oh, man, I'm not following. Hey, you're going to have to remind me. We'll get it on the next episode.
Shit. No.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, a lot of these younger people, we're not racist, man. It's like, we don't see.
Nah, I don't.
You know what I mean?
I never was, man. I always lived around different people or people from different countries, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I have, America, but I've always lived around people who knew how to survive or And
Yeah.
that's a different. It was a different way of me growing, and I think it was good and healthy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, don't buy into the hype. Not everybody's racist, and when you see one, call it out. But don't think that everything is racist. Hear somebody out first. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Everybody has prejudice. That's what we really are.
Yeah.
Everybody, you look at somebody with tattoos, you automatically assume, oh,
Yeah.
this guy, he lives a certain type of life. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? People that say black people, they have certain type of stereotypes and
Yeah.
prejudice. You see
Yeah.
white
Yeah.
people, always, this and that. I'm telling you, everybody has it, but that's something you got to work on for yourself and just be a little more accepting. Before I end this, real quick little scoring
Damn.
update. Freaking Kansas came back, man. I told you it wasn't over.
You was right,
I'm
bro.
pissed. It's freaking a 1 point game. It's so good. We got to cut this shit off. But it's 60-59 with 6:30 left in the second half.
Yeah.
Kansas is winning. And yeah, any last statements before we go?
That's it, man. We're gonna rock another one. We just freestyling a little bit, and but he hit some really good key things that kind of I learned about today actually, instead of more of just bullshit. I actually picked up on some things, so that's pretty cool of you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to change any minds. I'm just trying to put some
Well, no,
information out there.
it opens up doors, and there's things I couldn't talk about because
Right,
it's on a really big Richter scale.
right.
Like, there's so many things you got to put into that one subject. So
You got
it's just so like this, yeah, but yeah, no, yeah, but it's just like, man.
educate yourself, people.
Yep.
You know what I
So
mean?
y'all have a good night, man. Enjoy. Peace.
Peace.